Prem Rawat, widely known by the honorary title Miraji, has dedicated his life to spreading a simple message: that each person has a source of peace and fulfillment inside themselves. His message is from the heart. He speaks about the possibility for each person to find peace within, regardless of circumstances. If you are looking for fulfillment and peace, he says, the solution lies within. If that is what you want, I can help.
During the last 40 years, I've been traveling around the world, reporting on the customs and traditions that give meaning to our lives. During those years, I discovered that the ones that were most valuable to me were the ones that gave me a sense of inner peace and self-knowledge. A couple of years ago, I told a friend of mine that I was interested in taking a break from traveling around the outside world and wanted to make a trip to the inside, find out more about my own feelings and how they might relate to the universal themes of life. He suggested that I take a look at the teachings of a man named Prem Rawat. Prem, who is also known as Miraji, is originally from India and has been speaking to people around the world for about 30 years. He talks about the possibility of knowing contentment in our lifetime. He points out that the forces of modern society may stimulate our desires and drive us outward in a search for happiness, but lasting happiness can only be found within you. Like most people, I am interested in inner peace and self-knowledge. But as a journalist, I am particularly skeptical of anybody who tries to show me how to find it. In spite of that cynicism, I attended 2 lectures by Prem, and I found his message to be timely and quite significant and quite entertaining. And most surprisingly, some of the things he said actually helped me solve some problems that I was having with my family. I want to point out that I am not a student of Prem Rawat. I am a journalist interested in his story and his message. And he's very open about that. He says that the things that he teaches are significant to some people, but not to others.
This is a reality. This is a possibility. It is simple, it is beautiful, it is profound. And my words don't mean anything till you have felt it yourself.
My conversations with Prem were taped over the course of several months in Malibu, California. We talked about his life, my life, what is going on in the world today, what makes people happy, what makes us sad, and how one can choose to live. When people come to hear you speak, what do they expect?
I don't really know what they expect. I guess some people come and it's like, enlighten me away. I can't do that. What I expect to do is to come and speak from my heart. That's all I expect of myself. To be real, to be genuine.
Is there a central message or a series of messages that you tend to give during each of these?
My central message is, you are alive. Congratulations, you are alive. Now let's begin with that. You know, we don't have to create a curriculum. That's not necessary. Let's just begin with, congratulations, you are alive. What more needs to be said? Do you know what that means?
Probably not. What does it mean?
I'm very fortunate to be alive. Where's my gratitude that I exist? I'm unique. Do I really see myself as this unique being, this new unique individual? Or am I so busy trying to be like everyone else?
What else do you teach?
What else is there? Is there more?
This is a short but intense discussion.
It should be. That start of accepting this moment, this life, that's the doorway to everything. Everything. Today is the day every one of you has been waiting for. But if you can understand that you were waiting for this day. That every day that will come in your life, you have been waiting for that day to come. And if you can understand this, then you will not judge this day by what happened in it. You will judge this day by what you were able to dig out of this day. It's a lot easier to sit there and wonder what's going to happen tomorrow. Want to know the future? Wait. It'll come to you. It's headed your way. Have patience. We don't have patience. We want to know what's going to happen tomorrow. Tomorrow is never going to come. Because every time tomorrow starts to come, it becomes today. Today, we're not interested in. Because today is dedicated to tomorrow.
Pay attention to today is what you're saying to me now.
Even more than that. Because today comes in this moment called now. Pay attention to this moment called now, and you will understand what you are all about. You look at a river, and if you were to journey up that river and keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going, you'll get to a point where you will see not a river, but a drop. Very gently, very slowly, filtering through all the soil, all the rock, or melting of a snow, coming to a pinnacle, waiting till it builds, and then dropping. Drop. Drop. And drop. Never any faster, never any slower. Drop. And all those drops come together and form this mighty, mighty river. Looking at the river, you can't imagine its gentleness of a drop, just like the gentleness of the moment called now. That's your drop. That's how this life begins. That's how this dance begins. Mighty power in this world, and a humble drop called now.
How do you begin to learn about yourself?
You know, all our lives we try to reason, logic. So many people are living in that reason. So many people are completely indulging themselves every day. Well, now I have done this, so I must be okay. Now I can do this, so I must be okay. But you know, there's something more than reason, and that is feeling. Feeling is far, far more important than reason. Let me give you an analogy. The other day I was watching this cook show on TV, and he's telling us, you know, here's the salt, here's the cream, here's the mushrooms. And I can sit there and I'm mentally taking notes, right? Then all of a sudden, he does something. He takes his finger, dips it in the sauce, and tastes it. And I'm sitting there going, huh? What does it taste like? Because you just put this thing together. And it's incredible. I can see that. I can reason that much. But what does it really taste like? I don't know that. So if, in a way, we start to look at the reason in the same fashion, that we reason so many things, but what is it really like? What is it really like to experience? What is it really like to feel that? And when I start to acknowledge in my life this one valuable tool that I have been given, which is I can feel. I don't have to reason everything. I can feel too. Then you start to enter in the realm of self-knowledge. Because that's what self-knowledge is going to be. It's going to be a feeling. Peace is a feeling. Happiness is a feeling.
Do you think our world has gotten so noisy that we can't hear what's inside?
I think it's always been noisy. But now we're letting that noise come in. And we are listening to it. And not only listening to it, but we're sometimes passionate about it. And it's like, oh yeah, I just love the sound of the freeway running by my window. You know, God forbid something happens and all the traffic stops and it's just dead quiet. And that sometimes to people is very scary.
She said in a sweet, well, she said
I look at a child. There is something that that child is getting,
for our party tonight.
feeling.
Vodka stop? No.
That is incredible.
They just said
And I can only relate to it because I have felt that when I was young myself. It's like, it's fun.
Do you think that when we're young, we are in better touch with ourselves?
Things aren't that complicated. Things are a little simpler. The volume hasn't been turned up on all the noise outside. It's a little easier to go with the flow, so to say to oneself, I like this. I want to feel this. I want to enjoy this. And that feeling and that enjoyment is enough. The world can wait.
I feel it's very easy for people to get lost in the noise of the world, just the way you were describing it. How do you find your way back?
Stop reasoning. Start feeling. It's not like disasters and the noise doesn't once in a while get turned up even for that child. But they have a way of feeling. This feels good right now. I'll go with this. This is good enough. This is right. Certain things definitely need explanation, and certain things don't. Science can never explain to you why a sunrise looks so beautiful. There's no scientific explanation. The fact that you have a lot of hydrogen out there, the fact that you have the Earth's reflection makes all the colors and all that. Yes, but why does it look beautiful?
Why? Now that you've raised that issue, I've seen hundreds of sunsets. I've enjoyed them. I've never understood why will I walk to the end of a pier to see a sunset? Why do I do that?
Because the beauty is within you, calling out to you to appreciate, to enjoy what is enjoyable. It's a gift to appreciate, to be able to enjoy, that one thing that you are alive. That what the heart yearns for, that is what I am all about, what you are all about.
It seems that there's so little in the world that reminds us to do that. Pick up the newspaper. Issues like this are never discussed. They seem to push you away from yourself. Huh?
Because reasoning comes into it. I'm going to think logically out of this. Well, I'm not putting down logic. We all need that. But then you have to know where you get off. It's like going to your friend's house for dinner. You're not going to take the car to the dining room. The car is going to go maybe to the driveway, to the front porch. It's going to stop, and you're going to get out and go in the house. We got to know the difference. How far is reasoning going to take me? And where I need to begin to feel. Our association with words, with names becomes so prevalent, we forget what is this about? And the same thing happens with the word peace. Peace, oh yes. That's a good thing to say. It's a good, politically correct thing to talk about peace. You can't go wrong. Peace, peace. Nod your head. Peace, yes. Peace. Good, good, good. What does it mean? For some people, peace means to have this beautiful lake and beautiful mountains and little flowers growing on it. And some people, this is peace. Yeah, this is peace. You raise two fingers and it means peace. But when I say peace, I know exactly what I mean. Because I know it's not absence of war. It is not a Volkswagen. It's not this. It's a feeling.
Is there any way I can tell when my feelings are accurate as opposed to false?
You will know if you know how to trust in yourself. If you're going to sit there and get caught between reasoning and feeling, there you are touching this object that maybe what's written on this object is caution, red hot. Do not touch. You bring your hand closer and closer and you feel no heat and you're going, but it says, do not touch. There's something wrong here. It's saying it's hot and I know it's not. What do I believe? Well, I know it is not hot because I have felt it.
What you're describing is absolutely accurate. We look outside for all of our confirmations.
We become so comparative, you know. It's like, let me compare my success, your success. Where do I stand in relationship to you? All of a sudden, it becomes like a big chess game where you're looking at it and you're going, what is the relationship of the knight to the pawn, to the bishop, to the queen, to the castle? And you're looking at all these. What is threatened? What is not threatened? Life is not a chess game. Life is this beautiful drum of breath that is beating. Life is a flower that needs to be admired. Life is this beautiful fresh water welling from this spring that needs to be drunk and the thirst quenched. Life is offering not a challenge, but a joy. The reality is that the breath comes into you. And as a consequence, you are alive. The reality is that you have a heart. The reality is that you have this place in you which wants the sincerest of answers. The reality is that you want to be fulfilled. The reality is that you pick joy over sorrow. The reality is that you pick light over darkness. The reality is that you pick clarity over doubt. That's the reality. That's your reality. You will, given no coaching whatsoever, you will pick light over darkness. We live in a world where it is, oh, you got a little pain in your finger? Let's fix it. Are you thirsty? No worries. Let's go get the water. But here, to discover, my goodness, I am thirsty. Because for so long, I didn't think I was thirsty. For so long, I just went around saying, I'm me. I've got this. I've got that. I've accomplished this. I don't get thirsty. And then to feel the thirst and be fascinated by it. Because what kind of salt did you eat to create that thirst? Then to turn within and drink from the fresh spring that wells from within and quench the thirst. Not just a little thirst, but quench the thirst like it has never been quenched before.
There's an outside world, and you and I are travelers in it. But there's an inside world that you know much better than I do.
For so many people, a home is a building, 4 walls, roof, and all of that. But there is another home. That is the true home. Where you exist to enjoy, where you exist to rest. To rest. Rest from all the crazy noise, rest from all the crazy things that happen during a span of a day, to come home and to rest. Here, sleep means something else. Sleep doesn't mean to close the eyes, but to open the eyes to the inner world. To throw open that back door and walk into this garden. A garden that is so meticulous, a garden that is so perfect, where every leaf dances in a cool breeze. One thing about the inner world, one thing about the inner journey that is incredibly fascinating is it's never the same. Never, ever the same.
Why is that?
This landscape inside is infinite, And a little bit of a turn and you see something else, completely different. The word boring does not apply to the world within. Never is it boring. Because what you're looking for is within you. Always has been and always will. We are human beings. We need to feel, we need to understand, we need to love. We need to love. And we need to love the most lovable. That most lovable is within us. We need every day, to feel fulfilled. Excuse me, this is not luxury, this is necessity. I have my wife and 2 daughters in my family, and they like to wear tight shoes. Sometimes. So many times in the evening I've heard them take their shoes off and go, ah. I know what that is, that's satisfaction. It's been bothering them. Ah. Ah. This needs to come permanently in your life. Every single day it needs to be
When someone comes and listens to you and learns, they give you an extraordinary thing. Hours of their life that they will never recover. And I feel the same way. If someone sits down and watches one of my television programs, what an extraordinary gift. Our time is the most valuable thing we have. Don't waste it.
And so much of our time actually goes in trying to fix things, when it should be invested in us, in that peace, in that joy. Because every moment should feel like it has, whatever it had to offer, all of it has been extracted out of it. That is an art. And if we get good at that art, then that is the day we know we can live. Then that is the moment we begin to feel alive.
Prem's boyhood home is in northern India. He recently traveled there after being away for nearly 20 years.
Magical place. Always was magical. I grew up there, I went to school there. And people have told me, oh, it's gotten very polluted and so on and so forth. But I got to go back. And I was happy to just look around and see those mountains again. And how magical it was. And happy to say it still is. It still is. And I remembered so many things. It was just one of those beautiful blue sky days, warm, cool breeze. That's what I had always remembered. And I was so thankful that what that feeling was to be back, I had always carried it within me, because it was within me. The whole drama, the whole beauty of being alive was within me, regardless of where I went in this world.
It must be nice to be in a physical environment which feels like the center of the wheel.
When it is within you. Wherever you go, like a snail, you carry your house with you.
I've spent a lot of years sailing, ocean sailing, crossing the Atlantic, sailing in waters I didn't know, dangerous places. And when the storm comes, that sense that you have a center, that you know a safe place in you. Call it soul, you call it whatever it is, but the bigger the storm on the outside, the more important my center was, my inner peace. Not only for the things I had to do during that storm, but for the signal I sent to everybody else on the craft. You're going to be okay. I'm okay. We'll all be okay.
Exactly. So I need to prepare. That no matter what happens, today doesn't just slip away. And if I can begin to prepare for today, and if I can prepare for tomorrow, perhaps I can get enough insight into preparation that I can prepare for this life. So this life too doesn't just slip away. Slip away in the arguments and the quarrels, in the wants, in the dreams, in the ideas, but that it remains every day something real for me. As long as I'm alive. Real. Not that I'm chasing after it, but I'm flowing with it.